For more on this, I'd like to welcome former Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey, thank you for being with us this evening. The unrelenting attacks against Trump have cast doubt on our legal system. We were just talking about it with Pam Bondi, the Presidential Records Act. Some legal analysts say it doesn't apply here. Do you think that it certainly does?
I do, and thanks for having me, Lydia. Look, the Presidential Records Act provides that the president can access his own records. It provides a scheme in which the president decides which of two categories records fall into. Are they personal records? Are they presidential records? And as I read it, there's no mechanism in it actually for the National Archives, NARA, to even establish within the four corners of the Presidential Records Act that they disagree with the president about a call on that. And that's why there are indications in this case that people have taken to calling the sock drawer case, which is actually formally titled the Judicial Watch against the National Archives case. And it says that the president makes those calls. So I don't see how they're going to get around that. And I don't see how they're going to get around the fact that in order to use the Espionage Act, which MSNBC, they're practically climbing the walls in glee about the fact that President Trump was charged with that. It requires that the president have these records and that be unauthorized. But the Presidential Records Act actually authorizes the president to have the documents, and it certainly authorizes it if the president makes a call and says these are personal records, then it's like doubly authorized. So I think they have some big problems in trying to prove their case, Lydia.
Right. In a 49-page indictment, the Presidential Records Act is never mentioned. That case that you mentioned with the Judicial Watch, the judge in that case, a Barack Obama-appointed judge, actually agreed with the federal government that those were Bill Clinton's audio recordings, and it was up to the president's sole discretion whether or not they were classified or not classified. So there is definitely some sort of precedent here, and it's astounding to me that it was not mentioned at all. And the fact that you have other people saying that it doesn't raise some serious concerns about this case, it's astounding to me.
Well, Lydia, it's actually not that surprising in the sense of, whether you're talking about a civil complaint or whether you're talking about a criminal indictment or a criminal information, they tend to be framed exclusively from the standpoint of whoever the proponent is, whether that's the plaintiff in a civil case or the United States or a state in a criminal case. They don't say, this is what a lot of people have been calling a speaking indictment. That's accurate. But they tend not to be speaking in terms of they don't anticipate defenses and then say, these three defenses we anticipate and here are our rebuttals to it. They just launch their case and then they worry about the defenses later. So, what's remarkable is that Jack Smith went out to the press and, he didn't say anything about the other side of this issue, right? And one of the things I'm very fond of, Lydia, is in the Attorney General's office, which is on one corner of the very large block at 9th and 10th and Pennsylvania Avenues in D.C., up on the 5th floor in that corner is the AG's office. There's an entrance that has a kind of circular cupola around it that's all wood. And on it, it says that the United States wins its point in court when justice is done to its citizens. I may be paraphrasing, but that's roughly it. That's the job of Jack Smith, to do justice. His job is not to get Trump and not to put him in prison and not to collect a scalp.
Right. I thought Lady Justice has a blindfold on for a reason. What goes through your mind when you see what's happening to President Trump? And meanwhile, Joe Biden, he's been caught with classified documents he had ever since he was the senator. He had no power to declassify them at all. Where is the investigation into him? And there's obviously no mention of that either from the left-wing media.
Exactly. I was listening to an MSNBC segment today, and they were saying, that the prosecutor here is so proper. And there have been no leaks. I mean, I almost, if I'd been drinking something, I would have spit it out because the leaks have been enormous and constant, and they've been covered breathlessly by our so-called elite media. Whereas we've heard nothing from Robert Hur, who's been appointed under the same set of DOJ regulations to be the special counsel investigating President Biden's document issue. I mean, this guy seems AWOL. And there's a marked contrast between the constant stream of leaks against President Trump, which I think are designed to poison the jury pool against President Trump, wherever that jury may be. Whereas, things are being kept buttoned up and very quiet about the status of the investigation into President Biden.
Jeffrey Clark, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.